So today's discussion is going to give you really important insights to how do you start your business, or start if you're brand new and you want to start, or if you have a business but you're looking to start something else, what are the best steps to take? And to take us through this conversation and really guide us, I'm really thrilled to introduce one of my favorite panelists to work with. Don't tell anybody. This is BethAnn Dahan. She is one of AOF's business advisors. She has an MBA from Northeastern University, and she's used her own experience as a successful business owner to counsel hundreds of small businesses through everything from starting a business, which is perfect for today, and sustaining your business through difficult times. I'm so excited to be working with you again, BethAnn. Hi.
Always exciting when you're thinking about starting your own business, what you need to do, and we want to make sure you get off on the right foot. I will add just a bit to my bio in that I am an entrepreneur myself. I have started 2 small businesses. I live here in the Boston area in Massachusetts, and I ran a cafe and catering business for a number of years, and I currently own a wine production company. So a lot of experience with food and beverage, but just have been through a lot of this, a lot of the things that we're going to talk about today. I've been through them myself. The first thing you want to do is, start with a great idea that matches your own life's goals. So you want to ask yourself, why do I want to start a business? What problem do I solve in starting this business? And who is my target customer? Like I said, you want to make sure that your business idea aligns with your passions and skills. And so, this might involve a hobby, a family interest. Like I said, in my case, cooking and food and wine was always something that was really important in my family. So it was easy to sort of take that idea and run, a business with it. Or it might have to do with a current or former job that you have. So maybe you work as a nurse or a doctor, and you want to stay involved in the healthcare business. So you might think about starting a healthcare company. So, and that would also align with the skills that you would have. Assess your abilities. So what are you good at? Understand, if you really have skills within each of your interests to help sort of narrow down the list of potential businesses. And know your weaknesses. So not everyone is going to be an expert at everything when you start a business. And a perfect example of this is people who want to start a restaurant or a food business. You might be the best chef in the world. And I can say from experience, my brother was the chef of our business. Amazing chef. He could cook anything. But when it came to having the business skills, that wasn't his forte. And so that's why we, getting together and forming the business together, we were able to complement each other's skills. So don't be afraid to learn from others or partner with people with complementary skills to make sure that you cover everything that it takes to operate a business. So the next thing you want to do is to conduct some market research on your idea. So is there a desire for your product or service? Is there demand? You want to look at the market size. How many people are going to be, interested in what you are offering in your business? You want to look at economic indicators. What's the income range and employment rate? Location. If you are planning to open a brick and mortar business, you want to look at the location where you live, make sure that there are customers that are going to want or need your business or your service or your product. You want to look at markets saturation, basically the competition. How many other people are out there doing something similar to what you want to do? And then finally, pricing. What do potential customers pay for these alternatives? So you want to look at your competition. How much are they charging? What might you have to charge in order to make the business viable? So how do you conduct this market research? So there are different kinds of research, what we call either direct or primary research, and then secondary research. So direct research consists of things like surveys and questionnaires that you might send out to a group of people. You might put together a focus group. And then secondary research are, sort of the statistics that you need to gather. So you can get things like this from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, the U.S. Census Bureau, the Small Business Administration, or SBA. They have their wealth of information. And then things like IBIS World, which is industry market research that you can tap into to really get some granular information about your specific business. Speaking of the business plan, this is the sort of the next step that you want to take, is to write a business plan. Now, a lot of people will say, well, do I really need a business plan? That seems like a lot of work. If I'm not necessarily applying for a loan, who is going to need to see the business plan? Well, the answer to that is a business plan can serve as a lot of different things. It can be something that you would need if you were applying for financing or a loan or looking for investors. They're absolutely going to want to see a business plan. But a business plan will also just serve as a roadmap for your first years in business. So you want to be, really sort of lay out the steps of what you're going to do with your plan. And it will really, help you to, take those steps that you need to succeed. And it shouldn't be something that you write and stick in a drawer. It should be something that you are updating. Obviously things change, you have something in mind when you think of your business, but things inevitably will change. So you should always be updating your business plan. So again, it can serve as a living, breathing document and help you, reach those business milestones that you set up. What should you include in a business plan? So the first thing is an executive summary. This is basically your 2-minute elevator pitch. So anything but the executive summary. Or if they read the executive summary and their attention isn't immediately captured, they won't bother to read the rest of it. So it really needs to be punchy and grab their attention. So again, you want to write it last, but it's probably the most important thing. And again, this forces you to be able to explain clearly to someone what you're doing and what you're trying to sell. Step 4, you want to make your business official. And there are a couple things that you need to do to make this happen. So if you are, even if you're a sole proprietor, you want to register your business with your city and possibly your state, depending on what kind of legal structure. And we'll talk about those in a minute. The next thing you want to do is get a tax ID number or an EIN, an employer identification number. You'll need this to pay any federal taxes, to hire employees, to open a business bank account, and apply for any business licenses or permits that you might need. And if you are setting up as a sole proprietor, you can use your social security number to operate the business, but I strongly, strongly, strongly urge you not to do this. You want to keep things as separate as you can. So before you decide what kind of legal structure that you want to set up for your business, there are some questions that you need to ask yourself. So first is obviously, what type of business are you going to start? How small or large will it be? How many owners? Will you have partners? Will you have multiple partners, multiple owners? Who's going to make decisions for the business? This next one is probably the most important one. What are the liability risks of the business? So if you're getting into a business that has inherent risk, like a food business, for example, this is a really important question to ask. And then, do you have any personal assets that you need to protect? So if you have, you don't have to be super wealthy, but if you have a house or you have, different property that you want to protect, this is a question that needs to be asked before you decide on your legal structure. The next thing you want to do is figure out your financing. So when you start a business, oftentimes you need money to get started. And this can be, a tricky business when you're first starting out. But there are some ways to do it without having to apply for a loan. The first one is obvious, just what we call bootstrapping. And this is basically just using your personal savings or your personal resources. You may have, been planning to start a business for a long time. So maybe you've been putting aside money to help you do that. The next is debt financing from a microcredit lender or a CDFI. So a CDFI is a community development finance institution. And these are lenders that are more open to lending to startup businesses because a lot of traditional banks. The next option is something called crowdfunding. And crowdfunding basically means raising a lot of small contributions from many different people on the internet. And an example of a crowdfunding site is Kiva, because that's something I direct a lot of my customers to, or my clients to, because it's a great way to sort of, raise. Again, you're not going to raise millions of dollars, but it can be enough to get you started. And I'm sure people on the webinar have seen things like GoFundMe. Sometimes people will set up GoFundMe pages for either to start a business or if a family sort of needs some help to get them through a difficult time. That's all an example of crowdfunding as well. So you sometimes see it on Facebook or other social media sites, but Kiva is definitely a great one to check out. The other thing you can do is borrow money from friends and family if you're lucky enough to have, friends and family that can help you, and they're the first people that will be willing to take a risk on you. And then you obviously have angel investors and venture capitalists. These are funding options that are usually a little bit more sophisticated. They're going to definitely be looking for a very, very solid business plan with really robust financial statements, etc. They're usually interested in certain types of businesses too. They're going to be more interested in high tech kind of businesses, things that have the potential to really sort of blow up and make a lot of money because they're in it to make money. And then finally you have grants. I always have people asking me about grants. Everyone wants a grant. It's basically free money. And there are grants out there. I'm not trying to dissuade you from applying for grants, but they're obviously very competitive. So moving on to step 6, you want to protect your business. So, you are starting, this is your passion project, this is your baby. You want to make sure that it is protected. And this, again, depends a lot on the type of business that you are starting. Some businesses aren't going to need too much insurance, but other businesses, so for again, getting back to my, background, which is in the food business, you want to absolutely protect yourself. If someone, eats a bad sandwich and comes back and sues you for that, you want to make sure that you're protected from that. So some different kinds of insurance that you might want to think about are general liability insurance. This is going to help protect your company from liability claims. Business income insurance. This is something that will help you to replace any lost income if you have a temporary closure, or if you have a fire or theft or wind damage, for example. Professional liability coverage. This is something to have if you might be sued for negligence or errors in the services you provide. So for example, if you're a lawyer or in the healthcare industry. And then commercial property insurance. Again, if you do have a brick and mortar business or, a location, a retail store or a restaurant, you need to have property insurance. Now you have to get out there and sell your product or service. And this is one of the most important things that you need to do. You want to register your business with Google. First thing people do is go on Google, what's the best pizza in town? So it's going to allow, if you Google something, you'll see it always has the location. It will include the hours of your business, and any pertinent information. Once you have the website, you want to make sure people can find your website. You want to come up in those Google searches. So what you want to do is optimize your website's SEO. So SEO is search engine optimization. And basically what this does is help your business show up first in those Google searches, or at least very highly. So the next one, use social media. Now, I know a lot of people have sort of a love-hate relationship with social media. A lot of people ask me, do I have to have social media for my business? The answer is unfortunately yes. You have to have some kind of social media presence. Find the platform that is going to best help you find your target market and the demographics. Participate in local and community events. If you are operating a local events, attend events, meet different business owners and prospective customers. Set up at trade shows or farmers markets are great ways to attract customers. You can collect information, you can see what the competition is doing, and you can do some amazing networking and getting the word out about your business.
If you're, someone like me, and you're looking at this and you're like, this is a lot. I just wanted to give a shameless plug for our coaching services. So I mentioned earlier that BethAnn is one of our coaches. We have a whole coaching hub, and it is full of wonderful, experienced coaches that can help you when you're going on this journey. If you already have a business plan, they can help you look at that and make sure it's working for you, or help you kind of get that started.